question we want to propose here today is, what can Schneider Electric do for the developing world in terms of demand response? As these populations are growing in the developing world, they may have an electric grid that's struggling to keep up, and as a result, due to brownouts or blackouts, that may have difficulty keeping critical loads like hospitals running. So what's the answer to this? Do we go in and do a really capital-intensive build-out of a smart grid, or is there a lower capital way to do that? We're proposing a way to do that using a voluntary request for demand curtailment using a telecom network, as well as some targeted actual load curtailment using some control systems. So,
you want to move straight into your 5-minute explanation?
Yeah.
Great. I'll give you a 30-second warning as well as a over-the-line warning.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll talk about our customer segments. To start, the primary one are going to be the foreign governments and the utilities in these areas. So countries that are struggling to maintain their critical loads in light of the load there. So we want to work with them to present this system and see if it will benefit them.
Our value propositions we're going to offer to our customer is going to be much more reliable power grid to try to eliminate brownouts, just give them cleaner power in general for incoming electronics to their growing economy since it's an emerging market. Give them a sense of community to the alert system, let them contribute to cleaning up the power by enacting the communications that are given to them. Give the utilities or government, whoever buys the system, much more amount of control over the system. And it'll get Schneider Electric's name out there in emerging markets. So kind of get a head start to make a name for yourself in these places.
So let's step back and talk about what the system actually is and how we'd like to do this demand response in a less capital intensive way. So we're proposing a 2-stage system. The first, which works off of a principle similar to the active pager module or the E&M software you may be familiar with. So if the utility, as they're monitoring their grid, detects that they may be in danger of browning out or blacking out in a certain area, they can use an SMS server to send text messages calling for voluntary reduction to all customers, residential and commercial. And so there'd be some kind of a warning there to say we need this demand reduction in the next 15 minutes, let's say. Now let's say that they get 15 minutes, they haven't met the demand reduction, they'll send another text message and say we're about to curtail load in these areas to the customers affected in those areas. Or if they lower the load to an acceptable level, they'll say our curtailment event was avoided. Now, if they don't reach that curtailment, how are they going to keep their grid stable? So we're proposing that we create and sell a kind of a combination transformer that's got a built-in disconnect, built-in metering, as well as cellular or wireless communications to allow them to monitor and then disconnect large loads that will really make an impact if they're disconnected, like a factory or something that's non-critical, though, not a hospital, not a wastewater treatment plant, things like that. So that's the basic premise technology-wise.
Okay, so who are our customers? So primarily our customers are the foreign governments and the utilities in that country, but that's not the only people we're making value for. We're also making value for the people in the community and the business owners in the community because they're getting a warning before these blackouts happen. Typically these things just kind of happen and they may be losing critical data or something like that. But here they're getting a heads up via either a text message or whatever alert system is available in the country, maybe radio or something like that. So they have a chance to respond and to react. And also we're creating value by keeping critical infrastructure open, like hospitals and stuff like that, because that's the last thing you want power to go out in. And so, so that's who we're making value for. We're also making a sense of community because we're getting everyone working together to keep the most important parts of the community active at all times.
For revenue streams, we're looking for a lot of foreign aid money from the US government. It's gonna be one of them. We'll make money off sales of the equipment, transformers, or other equipment that offers the control, whether it's being sold to utilities or local governments. And also through the training. If, say, the government, the foreign governments are a big buy-in, they want to help educate the community on how to respond appropriately to these messages. We offer training and education. That'll also be incoming revenue.
And so what are our costs in implementing all this? The first main cost is the development of this transformer that not only can talk to the utilities and to the government, but it can also shed load and meter and tell what's going on around it. So that's the main one. But then on top of that, the next cost is with the HR associated with getting into these countries and letting them put our infrastructure in. So we have to put a lot of time and effort into talking to the governments and talking to the utilities and developing these relationships. And we also have to put money into like field tests and proving our concept and proving it can work and help out.
So really, what's in it for you? We're here today talking to you because we want to provide some benefit to you. Of your 5 mega trends, we're addressing 4 of them. The first off is sustainability. By prioritizing loads, we will enable to keep critical facilities up and operational during peak load times. The second one is digitization. Our solution enables communication and control from the ground up, and we don't have to worry about legacy systems being in place. Third one is the geographical shift. As these emerging markets come online, they're going to be consuming dramatically more power, and we will enable that efficient use of that power. And the fourth is the comeback of the governments. Again, by doing managing the operational during the peak demand times, we will keep the critical facilities up and running in the best interest of all the constituents.
Thank all of you.
Thank you.